Okay, hi everyone, and welcome to this week's small group tutorial video based around the story of the rich young ruler in Luke chapter 18. And the sermon today was called Rich But Sad. This young guy, he wanted a relationship with Jesus, but he wanted that relationship on his own terms. And Jesus told him he had to choose between his old life and a new life totally submitted to Jesus. So just looking at the questions for this week, the first thing that the rich young ruler asked Jesus was, what good thing must I do to receive eternal life? And in that question, there are two wrong assumptions that I want you to try to identify. And just as a hint, the first one is around being good. Who is good and who isn't? What makes us good? And the second part about that is that he's indicating that he can do something to earn eternal life. And there's a problem with that one, that part of the question as well. And when Jesus reminds him of the commandments, he conveniently leaves out the first commandment, which is that we have no other gods before God himself. And that was where the rich young ruler was really struggling. He wanted to still be the God of his own life. The second question, why did Jesus ask him to sell all he had and give the money to the poor? Do you think that's a bit extreme? Does Jesus expect us all to be poor and to have no money? Or was it more about what was in the young ruler's heart? Was it more about a heart issue than a financial issue? And if you have a look at Matthew 6:19 to 24, that will help you with that. Why did the rich young man become sad is the third question. Why couldn't he have both Jesus and his money? Can we have Jesus plus anything is the third question. The fourth question reminds us that life is about choices. And in my sermon, I looked at Proverbs chapter 9, and the first 6 verses of Proverbs chapter 9 talks about a woman inviting us to her house. Her name is Lady Wisdom. And then the last verses of Proverbs chapter 9 contrast that with a second woman called Madam Whore. And my question is, what do those two women represent in our lives? And in my sermon, I talked about eating McDonald's compared with eating a lamb roast. And what do they represent to us here and now in our lives? The fifth question was around the consequences of our choices. And Jesus, after his interaction with the rich young ruler, talks to the disciples and the rest of the crowd and reminds them that all of our choices have consequences, and made it clear that in order to know Jesus and have eternal life, we have to give up our own lives. So my final question is, how can you make sure you get to the end of your life without regrets? And what are some of the practical things, the application from this story that you might need to apply to your life, that we might need to apply to our life as a church? Hope you have a great study, guys. See you later.